Welcome to season 2 of the Fit to Love podcast show. Hello and welcome to Fit to Love Tasty Tuesdays. All about cooking, all about nutrition, and all about you. Enjoy the show. Did you know that there are 7 factors that contribute to weight loss resistance and having success with weight loss? Want to find out if one of those factors is sabotaging you? Come on over to fittolove.tv/quiz and find out. Today's show, a creamy paleo chicken and broccoli casserole. I saw this recipe on Pinterest, and of course, just like with all recipes, I kind of tweaked it a little bit and I tried it in different ways. And so I'm going to give you the basic recipe, but I have to tell you, since I've started making it, I've made it probably 10 times. I used it on a family gathering, and while this is probably the most labor-intensive recipe to date on this show, which is why I'm doing it at the end of season 2, it is worth it. Even the people who were here to have dinner said it was so good they'd be willing to do the work. So I'm going to tell you what I did, and if you're a cook or chef and you have the time and you want to do it sort of the healthiest way, and I'm going to give you sort of the shortcuts as well. All right, so the first thing you're going to need is I did 2 chicken breasts. You can do, depending on how many you're feeding, I'm using the small Pyrex dish. When it was the 4 of us for dinner, I used the larger size of the Pyrex dish. So I'm going to give you sort of what I did to prepare for today, and then you just make it more if you're doing a bigger dish of this. You want to make sure that you fill the pan, and then when we do the liquid, you want to make sure the liquid covers what's in the pan. All right, so I used the crock pot to cook this chicken down so that I could shred it. This is organic chicken breast, and I've already shredded it the night before. If that's too hard for you, a lot of stores will carry chicken breast already shredded. If that's still hard for you, you can buy chicken breast and then you just pull it apart. So like a cold chicken breast that's already cooked. And even the easier way would be to get a rotisserie chicken that you can just pull off and then shred right then and there. Okay, so those are your ways to do it. Many different ways to make it easy. So I'm gonna go ahead and just spread that into my Pyrex. Next, I have 1 small onion, because again, I have a smaller pan. And I just finely cut up 1 whole head of broccoli. So not, when you get it in the package and there's like 2 or 3 of them in a rubber band, so all of that. And again, you're just going to mix this in the pan so you have your chicken and your broccoli, and I may even have more than fits in the pan. So make sure your hands are clean. Or if you want to mix it in a bowl first and then pour it in the Pyrex dish, that would work too. Okay, let me move the chicken on top. Okay. Now, as you know, JJ's the messy chef, so no judging. It's just what happens. If you need to be neat and anal and that's why you don't cook, I rethink that. Because while this is cooking, I could clean up the mess that I made, and I have a healthy meal. All right. So next, I've got 2 eggs. I've got a whole can of full-fat coconut cream. And you want to use the cream, not the milk. And in this can of coconut cream is going to be water at the bottom. Use the whole thing. My oven is already set to 350. So we don't got to sit around and wait for the oven. Next, we're going to use bone broth. I made this bone broth last night. You're thinking, oh my God, here she goes. She made something else from scratch. You can buy bone broth. You can just use regular chicken broth. But when you roast a chicken, and I've done a roasted chicken on the show, when you roast a chicken, especially when it's organic, don't waste it. Make bone broth, make chicken broth, and then freeze it, and then use it for things like this. So I put just the carcass of the organic chicken in water, and I boiled it down for like 4 to 5 hours, and you get this sort of cloudy looking bone broth. You can do it for longer, and then it starts to get gelatinous, so just be careful. All right, now, you want to start off with a cup. The recipe called for a cup of bone broth or chicken broth. And if you're, I guess if you're vegan, you're not doing this recipe at all, so never mind. I'm going to stir this all together. And again, the basis of the recipe is you want to make sure that the liquid covers the chicken and the broccoli and the onion. Now, other things you can put in this. This original recipe that I saw on Pinterest called for mushrooms. and my guests didn't like mushrooms, so I used bacon. Very paleo. It added a great flavor with some salt to it. If you don't like bacon, again, and I bake my bacon, so again, another step. Like I said, it was labor intensive, but it was well worth it. And what's even better is that you have leftovers. Love having leftovers. So you can also use, so I used the bacon. I did do another version where I used mushroom, but I have to tell you I didn't like that. The original called for mushroom because of the water content. It makes it more watery, so I wouldn't use it unless you want to use more eggs to soak up that water. All right, so now we have our liquid that's hopefully going to cover this. Before I do that though, I'm going to salt my chicken and my broccoli because there's no salt in here currently. Then I'm going to add some pepper, black ground pepper. You can always add more. And then another fun ingredient is actually 1 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I thought, that's why I was really curious to try this recipe. Nutmeg. Okay. I tried it, and everyone said, what's that really unique flavor? I was like, nutmeg. So I would do the nutmeg, and I'm leaving out, obviously, the bacon and the mushroom today. I've even done a cheesy version where I've used turmeric and brewer's yeast and garlic, because you know me, I love garlic, so I put garlic in everything. So this is just the base recipe. Make sure you play, put in things you like, watch the watery vegetables because again, you'll get a watery casserole. And the point of this is supposed to get a little more solid. All right, now, if for some reason it doesn't cover everything, I will add more chicken broth. But actually, we're looking pretty good. Minus the JJ Messy Chef aspect. I think we're good. I'll add a little bit more. Because I made the chicken broth especially for today. All right, there we go. Now, just for cooking purposes, I'm going to add a little bit of black pepper since I really like the way black pepper looks on top of that when it bakes. And we in this household like black pepper. We like spicy things. And then this is going to go in the oven at 350 for about 45 minutes to an hour. I always recommend timing your oven, especially if you're a busy person who multitasks. God forbid, you walk away, forget about it, you burn it, and all that effort went to nothing. So we're going to put the timer on for 45 minutes. You know what, I'll put it on for 30, and I'll check it then and see how much more time it needs. And I'll see you when it comes out of the oven. Okay, so you want to make sure your paleo, creamy paleo chicken broccoli casserole doesn't move, that it's cooked and browned to what you like it. So again, because I made a smaller pan and I did increase the heat a little bit, it cooked in less than an hour. So always put it around 30 or 35 minutes and check it and then see if you want to do it anymore. So enjoy your creamy paleo chicken and broccoli casserole.